And we're off. You can tell this is a Marylou Whitney event because it's going off on time. And not a Joe Dalton event. So, sorry. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the local press. Thank you to the honorary chairs, John Hendrickson and Marylou Whitney. Thanks to the founding members, of which there are 15, and I think there's a full list of them in the press conference, in the press material you have in your pamphlets. And also invited guests and members of various committees that have come. We have, I think, some committee members from the committee that is putting around the itinerary for our starting gate, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We've got a lot of great events. We're off the ground. You see the evidence in front of you. And one of the most exciting events we've got coming up is our first event, which is on May 24th, and that's a family fun day at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center. It's a full evening of entertainment. We're going to have a picnic prize, so we're inviting people to come and have an old-fashioned picnic on the grounds, and there's a $1,000 cash prize for the winner of that. We're also going to have some youth groups, clowns, stilt walkers, jugglers, storytellers, costumed 1860s people. You see some costumes up here. And barbershoppers, 4 ethnic bands, and it's all going to culminate in a grand fireworks display that I think takes place about 9:15. And so we're encouraging people to come out for that. I want to thank Marcia White in particular for helping us get this organized from the Saratoga Performing Arts Center. It's not like it's her slow season to add another event like this. John's going to get into some other very important events, but I want to mention another one that's kind of special to me and my family, and that is on August 8th. There's going to be a world premiere of a new piece of music written specifically for the 150 years of Saratoga. It's been written by Richard Daniel Poor, who's another Saratoga connection. He's a Yaddo artist. The title of the piece is Serenade, and that's meaningful to him because the first piece of music he heard in Saratoga was Tchaikovsky's Serenade, and so this is going to pay a little tribute to that, but it's going to be a reminder of the healing waters of Saratoga, the culture of Saratoga, and horse racing, of course. And so that will be the kickoff event for that evening's Philadelphia Orchestra concert, and it's going to be conducted by the maestro of the Boston Pops, which I think is the first time that the maestro for the Boston Pops has conducted the Philadelphia Orchestra in Saratoga. And following the first piece will be a piece that requires a narrator. The whole evening are equine-related pieces. And the narrator, where I'm pleased to say, is going to be Tom Durkin, who's Saratoga's own racing announcer. So that's going to be a special evening, too. But at this point, I would like to, again, thank Marylou and John for all they've done for Saratoga 150. It's, you know, they're honorary committee member, they're honorary chair people, but they're setting a pace I'm having a hard time keeping up with. So they're working as hard as any actual chair I've ever met. So thanks again. At this point, I'd like to ask John to talk about a new public service announcement.
Hello. First of all, it's a great honor to live in this city. I never understood Marylou's love affair with the town when I first moved here. I get it now. The people are terrific. The community spirit, led by Charles Wade on this particular event, and having the Louis involved and everybody else, is just phenomenal. And having Naira, we have a couple representatives, Stephen Travers, Joanne Adams, and Peter Goulet, who've helped out a great deal. But the Louis called us this winter and said, would Marylou be interested in doing a public service announcement for the Saratoga 150? I kind of chuckled and I said, well, I'll ask her. And she said, as long as it's fun and it helps Saratoga, I'll do anything. And so without further ado, we have a TV monitor here, and we'd like to show the 30-second spot that we will hope will go viral, and everyone will enjoy it and get the sense of humor.
Hello, I'm Marylou Whitney. I think the only thing older than me in Saratoga is a racetrack. Come celebrate the track's 150th birthday this summer. Everyone loves a party, darling, so don't miss Saratoga's biggest celebration in history.
And that PSA will be airing on the Saratoga 150 website, and for media that wants it, we have copies. Besides shooting a PSA, Marylou has been very busy with Marlene Oakby and Maureen Louie and Jane Waite, doing something very spectacular. It's bringing back a tradition that was very popular in the late 1800s. It was the Floral Fete Promenade, and I'd like Marylou to tell us why she wanted to resurrect the promenade.
One time I did this, and everyone loved it. All the carriages, it's going to be like it was in 1851. All the carriages will be covered with flowers. And we have a wonderful committee of people who are working all this. We have Jane White, who has headed all of these floral clubs, and has got everyone working, planting flowers to put on these carriages. So right now, they're in the ground growing. We're hoping they'll all come up beautiful. And the carriages are like they did when Marylou Whitney first had the racetrack, started it. They'll be going down Broadway, starting at Highway 50, about 7 carriages. There'll be different types of horse-drawn carriages. But I think one of the most beautiful things in the Floral Fete will be all the different children pushing the big little dog carriages, on the tricycles, on bicycles, wagons, all decorated with the flowers. Everything has to have flowers. It's going to be the most beautiful thing in the world. All this is going to be ending up at the casino in the park. The park is going to be beautiful. And thanks to the Dakes of Stewart's Ice Cream, they're going to dish out ice cream to everyone. And then the cake is going to be beautiful. We're going to have a huge cake, and we won't want to cut it until we're bringing the prize at the park. The cake is being presented by
Mazzone's?
I forgot the name. Oh, they're so wonderful done this. You'll find it.
Is it Angelo?
No. Let's
Well, we
see.
just committed him, Angelo Mazzone.
No. We're going to have cut-out figures that people can stand behind and have a picture taken. We're going to have all sorts of clowns and different things in the park. It will probably be the most festive time we've ever had in the park, ever. And I want to thank all the different people working on this. I particularly want to thank the people who have been growing these flowers and getting everything ready for us. We have Yado, and we have Jean Dugan, Darlene Newley. They were the New York Flower Power members. And the parade, which we have, will be chairman with the Saratoga County Chamber of Commerce executives. Todd Chimmis, Kathy Fire, Blanca Cougar,
Bianca.
Huh?
Bianca.
Bianca.
But there's one other thing that it's very important. This is a community celebration. There is a way to sign up online at the Saratoga 150 website. There are 4 categories: bicycles, children's wagons, baby carriages, and wheeled contraptions. And there is a very detailed form to fill out, but it's first come, first served, so we want the whole community to get involved in this parade.
They did the same thing at the Floral Fete 150 years ago. I think one of the most beautiful sights were all the little children with the little baby carriages and all the little tricycles and things, that wagons. I think that is the most charming part of the parade. Of course, on the parade, we'll have 7 beautifully decorated carriages. And the carriages are very old carriages. And we're going to have Skidmore College has given us a place to have all the carriages stored, be decorated on the ground, and on their grounds. And then they will go down Broadway, starting at Highway 50 and go into the park. And it's going to be a whole wonderful, exciting parade. Oh, one other thing. Lots of antique cars. The Automobile Museum is going to donate all these antique cars that will be decorated also. And funnily enough, in my garage, we found a car that's a replica of William C. Whitney's car that he had in
1890s.
well, earlier. Anyway, it's a Buick, original car. It's a Buick, and it looks like a carriage. It's done with a stick. You don't drive with the wheel. And I want to say, Charlie, that I used it in a parade years ago, and your father drove that car all over the parade, all over Broadway, all up and down the streets of Saratoga. And whenever the hill, he had quite a hard time getting up. He pushed it sometimes. So I'm not asking you to ride in that car. But it will be in the parade, and it kind of means something to me to think that of all the things we have stored away, there had been this Buick replica of a Buick William C. Whitney had. And so this whole celebration makes it even more special. I think you've seen a few dresses around the room. I'm a great collector, or have been, of old
Victorian dresses.
Victorian mainly dresses, and I have closets full of them. So we've tried to get them out and press them. Some have fallen apart, they were so old, but we're going to, some of the girls who are working on this whole project wear these dresses. And I hope that a lot of women will find dresses similar and will try and wear them that day during our parade and during the whole wonderful week that we have.
That's good.
And I want to thank your mother so much, and Marlene and Maureen, two of the best workers I've ever had in my life. And all the girls they've got assembled working on this, all the garden clubs. I think it's so wonderful that so many people have volunteered their time to do this whole project. It's a big project, but it's going to be so beautiful. You can't believe how beautiful it's going to be. And I prayed every day in our little chapel that it won't rain.
One other event to segue into the $15,000 bets every Saturday. Over here, you might have a photo op of the briefcases we're going to give to the lucky winners that we're going to draw the week before the race to place a $15,000 win bet on the featured race. And so far, we have 4,310 people signed up, and there's still time to sign up, so please tell everyone, get your chance to spend Marylou's money.
Great. I can't, again, say how much I appreciate the effort that Marylou and John have put into this project. You've seen the $15,000 bet, which was John's idea, the floral fete, which was Marylou's idea, the ice cream social, and the Hoof Prints Walk of Fame, which I think you'll get to see later, which is a great event, later on in the summer. So that's going to be a lot of fun and very interesting. But, you can't do this without a widespread base of support. And I'm going to just tell you three quick anecdotes of how the business community and the general community have stepped up so quickly and taken projects on and just gotten them done quickly. One of the first people I spoke to about the Saratoga 150 was Bill Dake at Stewart's. And Stewart's now, they're going to come up with an ice cream flavor that's to be announced at some future date. They helped sponsor an essay contest. I think they had over 200 essays submitted and a winner announced for that. They have a contest where later on in the summer where if you walk into a Stewart's store in Saratoga County and can say sesquicentennial 3 times in a row without faltering, you get 50 cents off on your ice cream cone. And they also have a video that's running in the stores now about Saratoga and 150 years of racing. And they're one of the major sponsors of an WMHT documentary, which will be premiered in early July at the Zankel Auditorium. So that's just one example of one of the major corporations in this area just jumping in, and I want to thank Bill and Stewart's for everything they've been doing as well. I think in your press kits you'll see that DeCrescenti and Coors have teamed up together. All of Coors' regional advertising will be about Saratoga and Saratoga 150. And you know, when a company like Coors puts their marketing muscle behind something, that means billboards, it means in-store displays, it means 2 million beer bottles with the Saratoga 150 logo. So that'll be promoting Saratoga this summer. Saratoga Water, our own local company, they've got the new bottle right here, and that has the Saratoga 150 logo on it, and they're going to be making 4 million of these bottles, so get them quick because they're going to run out. And Saratoga Candy, you know, a little merchant on Broadway, they're doing a Saratoga 150 candy bar. We've got a Saratoga Salsa is doing a Saratoga 150 salsa. There's a wine company who's going to produce a Saratoga 150 wine, a local winery. We've got N. Fox has a full line of jewelry, all based on the Saratoga 150 theme. Impressions has a full line of accessories, and anybody who likes this tie, you're going to run down to Impressions and get a tie like this, Saratoga 150. I want to thank NYRA for everything they've done. They've pulled out all the stops as well. They're going to have a whole series of their own events, which I'm sure they're going to be announcing later, but they've been very helpful every step of the way. Another anecdote is I went out to lunch with a gentleman from Garnet River, which make apps. They've done some work for the bank, very high quality stuff. And he said, you know, we're a kind of under the radar company here in Saratoga. People don't know who we are. And he said, we'd like to do something for the community. So I said, well, how about doing something for Saratoga 150? He said, we'd love to. So we teamed up with Marcia from the Saratoga, Janice White. I'm sorry, I get Marcia and Janice White confused at our committee. Sorry about that. Janice White from the Saratoga School District. And Janice got the students together to put up a walking tour of downtown and the track. And Garnet River is producing the app, and it's in front of Apple right now for approval. And once that's approved, we'll have a smartphone app with a walking tour of downtown Saratoga and the track. That's the example of the kind of support. And then I just want to mention Susan Bocan, who's sitting over here. And same thing, I went out to lunch with her, and she said, well, what can I do? And I said, well, we've got this, I think we've got this starting gate, and we need to have locations for the starting gate. She pulled the committee together in a week. They came up with a long list of locations where the starting gate can be and promote Saratoga 150. And it's that kind of, you know, at every level and all through the community, people just jumping in and getting the job done. It's made this job so much fun, and I really appreciate the effort everybody has put in. We've got 101.3, the Jockey. They're doing spots for us all the time on the radio. We've got the Saratoga, and they're doing spots every day in the paper for us. Mazzone Catering did the starting gate. They paid for the whole thing, and DePaula Chevrolet has taken care of the truck and a driver for us, so all of the expenses of that have been met. And take a look at that truck. It's really awesome. We've got the historic group, the Preservation Foundation, is doing a porch decorating contest. So I'm only scratching the surface of the over 200 events that are going to happen this summer, but it's just been a wonderful, wonderful time. I think Joe's going to talk a little bit about some of the other events that are coming up. Joe?
Charles pulled me out of nice retirement to get involved in this. It was going to be a nice little celebration, and now it's over 200 different events that are going to be run. Another event that we haven't mentioned yet is the chalk art contest on the sidewalks of downtown. We'll be doing that in early August. There'll be applications. Individuals can submit sketches of what they'd like to do. They will be judged. The top 25 will be chosen to do the sketches early in August in the downtown area. We're going to have 3 different encampments of military units. We're going to have the War of 1812, the French and Indian War, and the American Revolution during the month of June. with music, military music after it, after each one of those. We're also going to have another encampment in September, which will be a Civil War encampment. A film festival we put together where we're going to have movies at Skidmore. It'll be an entry by medallion or $5, which goes to a charity. We will have the movies on the screens. If you haven't seen the Zenkel Music Hall at Skidmore, it is magnificent, and the sound system is great. So we'll have Secretariat one night. Another night we're going to have Seabiscuit, and another night we're going to have 1939 movie, which is Clark Gable, and I forget the young lady's name, but the name of the movie is Saratoga. And it's Jean Harlow, who didn't complete the film, but died before it was completed. Before the encampments and before the music in the evening, we're inviting Saratogians into Congress Park to have a family picnic and make it a small town celebration. We've mentioned the window decorating contest, which we're getting a lot of phone calls on now with theming the windows to be red and gold. And there will be prizes. The prizes for that will be boxes at the track. The porch decorating contest will be in the immediate area around the track. And there will be races named in the honor of the winners of that porch decorating contest, and there's 4 different categories. The $2 better ball, there are in your press kits, there's information about what bands will be playing. It's something that's very unique because I don't think it's ever been done before. We're going to have 3 different bands, one playing music of the 40s, 50s, and 60s in one hall, another playing music of the 70s and 80s in another hall, and movies of the 90s to the present day will be in another hall. Admission, again, is free with the $15 medallion. Those who don't purchase the medallion will be $10 each for the medallions, for entry into the Bettor's Ball. SPAC will have, as usual, its Wine and Food Festival in September. The Allegiance Bowl, which is sponsored by the Adirondack Trust Company, will also be in September. I think one thing that should be, this has been geared up to have the general public. This is not a tuxedo and champagne party. From the beginning, the 30-member steering committee stated they wanted the entire community involved. That's why the $15 medallion is very important. It gets individuals into the family night next Friday night at the spa with a child. It gets an individual and a child in. Then a Bettor's Ball is admission to the Bettor's Ball, admission to the film festival, and other events that are being sponsored by us. They're available. Those buttons, or medallions as we call them, are available at the Adirondack Trust Company, any of their branches. They're also available in Fox, Impressions, and the National Museum of Racing. We put together a line of souvenirs that Impressions is selling in town, and that gives you an idea. And we'll be christening the starting gate. And I turn it back to Charles.
Before we do that, I'm going to exercise the chairman's prerogative and grab the microphone from Joe and say I've been remiss in not thanking a couple of people. First, Ed and Maureen Louie. They have been just terrific. They've handled the PR committee. They've handled all the organization for this. They're behind-the-scenes kind of people, but I got to tell you, without their expertise, without their contacts, and without their hard work, none of this would have happened. So I think if we could have some applause for Ed and Maureen Louie, that would be good. And the other is Joe Dalton, who, you got to have a Marine on the ground to get these ground things done. And we've got the best Marine there is, and he's been terrific. And we're working him to death, but he's a great guy. One of my first jobs back a million years ago was working for Ed and Joe, and we drove a van down to New Rochelle, New York, to do some promotion for SPAC. And I got to tell you, being an 18-year-old kid sitting between Joe Dalton and Ed Louie for 3 hours almost killed me. But I turned to them both the other day and said, I haven't come very far in life. I'm still sitting between the two of you guys. So I think now we're going to be ready to initiate the starting gate, after we christen the starting gate, we'll have time for any questions that you might like to ask.